Hi everyone, and welcome to Ask Christa, the place where you can ask questions about how to work through business challenges and workplace issues. I'm Christa Dhimo, and today's listener question is another important question about the business side, which is appropriate because it's also Season 3's last episode before we move to Season 4. Season 3 focused on the business side of things, and Season 4 is setting up to focus about doing the work. This listener question is in large part about doing the work, but it's also about really important business competencies that shape the capabilities of your organization. So I'm considering it a bridging episode. The listener question is, I've been watching your show periodically since you started, selecting specific episodes based on my needs. I haven't seen anything about presentation skills yet, so I'm submitting this question. I'm a scientist who has done bench work for the last 5 years. I want to branch out and get more involved in product development, but my manager says I need to work on my presentation skills. I've received in-house coaching to minimize my content. I've taken classes, and I practice with multiple people before I present, but it seems I haven't improved. My manager has set me up with a communications coach, and the consistent feedback is that I appear nervous, stiff, and unrelatable. I've received tips and new techniques, but they don't feel natural. I don't know how to fix this, but I keep trying. I'm going online and now investing in other ways to learn better presentation skills. I'm becoming more and more nervous, thinking maybe I'm not built to present well, but I don't want this to impact my career. How can I improve my presentation skills? First, thank you for your mention of how my show is helping you. What you describe is exactly what I hope for, that people will find and choose the episode that will help them the most. I also appreciate that you are seeing my show and its content as a place with options, where you can find nuggets that will help you with your specific needs, because when it comes to presenting and upskilling you to present well, you're not alone, ever. And as with any communication skill, every day is a school day, and every day requires practice, no matter how good or confident or even expert you are. I also want to acknowledge that our listener who submitted this question is clearly under a lot of pressure, and whew, that's a lot. I'm going to focus on answers to the question, and a few in particular, but I also want to say that nerve-wracking work makes us nervous, but can also make us better. My guess is a lot of people can relate to this question. Wanting to move into a different role and needing new or improved skills to do it is something that's common. I've had it in my own career when I wanted to switch gears and explore other roles, and I needed to learn a few extras or sharpen up some skills I hadn't used much in the current role I was in. In this listener's case, they have what seems to be a very supportive manager, investing time and resources to help build a critical skill for our listener's success. And the listener is worried the investment won't pay off. But when it comes to communication, there will always be natural tendencies and long-formed habits in our communication styles that want to stay with us. So it's important to know that doing something new and doing it well, especially when so much of it has to do with behavior, takes time. And not because it takes a while to learn it. It doesn't. We learn new skills every day, and we're capable of far more change and adjustments than we ever give ourselves credit for. It takes time because it takes practice. When we learn new skills that require new behaviors, it's complicated. And communication is about as complicated as it gets for us good humans. It's not just about what we say, but how we say it, where we're standing in the room, how people are hearing it and interpreting it. And how they hear and interpret what you say is heavily influenced by factors you cannot control, like how much sleep they got the night before, or whether they're hungry or thirsty during your presentation, or if they just heard they got a promotion they've been waiting for. It's complicated. And on top of that, as I said before, nerve-wracking work makes us nervous. And applying new skills and behaviors while in front of others, who will then tell us how well we're doing, that's nerve-wracking. And we'll get nervous. And the more nervous we get, the more the work feels nerve-wracking. Then correlation expands, which is the very definition of a spiral. One side goes up, the other side goes up, which makes the first side go up again. Presenting is nerve-wracking. You get nervous, and the feeling of being nervous while presenting is nerve-wracking. And so you get nervous some more. You need to break that cycle. So my first must do for this listener and all people nervous about doing nerve-wracking work is this. Perspective is your best friend. Take a deep breath, take a step back. Sip some cold water, slow yourself down, stretch. And take another deep breath and use one of the most powerful words in the English language. Only. It's only a moment in time. It's only until I've practiced it enough. It's only until it becomes more natural for me. It's only a presentation. It's only until I find the right way that works for me. It's only. Make this temporary, because all new learning is temporary. At some point, it's not new anymore. It will be more comfortable. It will feel less daunting. But this is where practice comes in. Practice, practice, practice. Not just in front of people. Practice at home. Practice while driving. Practice while making a meal, while commuting on a train or a bus. Set aside time during your day to practice. You don't need a presentation to practice communicating information. And at the foundational level, presenting is about communicating information. But anyone can do that. And email can do that. PowerPoint or Canva can do that. And by the way, what's on the screen behind you is your sidekick. It's also competing for your audience's attention, and it will win unless you present and communicate your words in a more engaging and meaningful way. You see, communication isn't about the mechanics of communicating. Well, some of it is about the mechanics. Projecting your voice, enunciating clearly so people can understand you, using all forms of communication we humans have to offer, such as facial expressions, physical changes, walking around the room, bringing your voice up or down, making your voice soft or more forceful. But if we say presenting at its core is about communicating information, then we must say that communication at its core is about connection. And that must be your mindset if you want to strengthen your bigger picture perspective. It's only a presentation because the real value is in how you're connecting. It's only a moment in time because if you practice and keep up with your learning and your practice, you will get better. It's only until it becomes more natural for you because presenting is mostly about your behavior while you share information. So practice. And when you become overwhelmed, take a step back from the nerve-wracking work and focus on the bigger picture. Perspective is your best friend. Okay, once you get that down pat, you need to also look at what a presentation is for and at its base level. Sharing information. And you're not sharing information you know or have, but rather you're sharing information others need to know and have for an important reason that they too believe is important. Otherwise, why are they there? This is where connection comes in. You can design and plan the best presentation. You can practice and check off all the practice boxes. But the magic sauce for effective presentations is in making a connection with your audience. To help with this, consider reframing your presentation away from giving a presentation and toward providing a service to your audience. You are offering something your audience needs, and it's your job to earn that trust, keep them engaged, and motivate them to go to your next presentation whenever that might be. Gain their attention, then maintain their attention, and aim for them to return to your next presentation. Here's a real-world example. What's your honest reaction if I asked you to attend a 2-hour meeting with me so we can listen to software and hardware engineers give us different presentations about their technology? Now, what if I asked you to attend a 2-hour Apple keynote so we can listen to software and hardware engineers give us different presentations about their technology? Here's the difference. In the first example, several of you probably thought of what most of us think of, how awful presentations are. That changed when I mentioned Apple keynotes because you know why they work so well? Why everyday people and industry professionals want to attend? Because the entire event is designed in service to the audience with a primary goal of making connections. So gain and maintain. This isn't too different from the points I offered for episode 35, which just dropped. And that's the importance of preparing a structure that invites attendees to experience a good meeting. So good meeting, very similar to good presentation. You aren't giving a presentation. You're sharing vital information your audience cares about. You aren't asking them to attend. You're inviting them to participate and guarantee a good use of their time. You aren't hoping that they listen. You're excited about what they will hear because of what it will mean to them and for them. Gain and maintain. Earn their trust. Earn their attention. Earn their listening skills. Earn the use of their time. And then honor and respect their time. You owe it to them to put that much work into a presentation. And for some, this will feel natural. But for most, it's work. Maybe even nerve-wracking work. But it's a highly competitive skill and so worth doing well. Then overall, presentation skills involves the usual checklist to be effective with your time, but more importantly, with other people's time, your audience. So, know the purpose of your presentation, why you have been asked to deliver it, and why you believe it should be delivered. Make sure your audience knows those things too. Second, understand and agree to the objectives of your presentation. What's the goal? When you conclude your presentation, what will people say that they got out of it? Is it related to what you asked them to do or why you asked them to attend? You want them walking out saying, "Oh, I'm really glad I attended that presentation because now I know how the recent shift in strategy impacts our project, or how my budget just expanded because of a new client, or how I should encourage my team to take advantage of new perks the company is offering." Third, design a presentation that follows some general ground rules in support of your audience and their time. Our listener mentioned receiving help to minimize content. And that's about structure. And so much of that is related to time or the length of your presentation. It also includes pace, which is the speed of your presentation. Both matter in terms of an effective presentation, and both must be heavily considered during your preparation. For example, use only 70% of your presentation's allotted time to present. The rest is discussion or Q&A. And if there's no need for discussion or no one asks any questions, end the presentation in the meeting. You just gave your attendees 30% of their time back. So if you're allocated for 30 minutes and you start on time, your talk time is actually 20 minutes, or technically 21 minutes. That leaves time for Q&A, or you can agree to offline follow-ups or release the attendees early, which everyone appreciates. But the 70% content approach also means if you're allocated for 30 minutes, but you start 10 minutes late, either because everyone is running behind or there are technology issues, your allocated time just reduced from 30 to 20 minutes. So now you have only 15 minutes, or technically 14 minutes, of talk time, which is the time you have to speak. And you have to be prepared to make that adjustment. It might mean you get through the key points and get to the end of your time and then suggest a brief follow-on meeting, a second meeting for Q&A. Or you ask people if they can stay later to make up for the time, or it means you reschedule the presentation. One note about adjusting your content if you start late. This is something I say a lot and has to do with pace. Speaking faster will not slow down time. If you start late, you cannot make up for the time by speeding through your presentation. Remember, it's not just about getting the information out. It's about making a connection and providing important information your audience needs to know for their benefit. Finally, very obviously, style matters. My guess is this is where our listener is getting the most help based on the question, where the listener shares feedback that they are seeming nervous, stiff, unrelatable. And that's from the listener. And that's from the observer, saying that that's how the listener comes across. And that unrelatable piece is critical because that's about connection. Now, there's only one guaranteed style that will never work for anyone. And that's when you try to adopt someone else's style that simply doesn't work for you. Everyone's style will be different. And this is when communication coaches and a lot of practice can really make a difference. It's important to adopt a style that works best for you because it feels somewhat natural. And generally speaking, if you appear nervous, stiff, and unrelatable, it's because you are nervous and therefore stiff. That doesn't mean you're unrelatable forever. if you can feel more at ease, a lot of the other things go away. I know not everyone has those resources available either. For sure, our listener is getting a lot of excellent resources. But if you're in an environment where there's no learning and development budget, or where no one thinks about improving communication skills by way of presentations, join a local Toastmasters or any other speaking association where you can learn some grounding techniques supportive of your natural speaking style, and then practice, practice, practice. Style matters. Find your style, then practice it. For your resources, I've included an article from Quartz called The Hidden Structure of the Apple Keynote. It's from July 2022, written by Dan Frommer. You'll learn some interesting nuggets about how they view the keynote from the audience's perspective. And I'm here to say that is a key winning factor for these meetings. You'll also see information about Toastmasters, and I've included a fascinating, informative, and really well-written article, too, from Vogel and Viali called Presenting with Confidence. It's from July 2018, and it's listed in the PubMed Central Index from the NIH's National Library of Medicine. It has a wonderful list of do's and don'ts, and also breaks down some of the barriers everyone experiences when it comes to effective presentation skills. And that's a wrap for episode 36 and season 3. We have season 4 coming up, which focuses on doing the work. You can submit your question directly on my website, askchrista.com. That's Christa with a CH, where you can also browse through various episodes based on category. While you're there, sign up for my More Answers newsletter, which you will receive additional content on Sunday nights to set you up for the work week. As always, thank you for your support. And remember, if you have a business challenge or workplace issue, ask Christa.